Other interesting political news, the House passes a bill to automatically enlist men in the draft. Now, this comes to us thanks to the Concerned Citizen, which, interestingly enough, it's a pretty good profile name. And, well, let me see here. Now, it says, quote, the American House just passed this bill that whereby all male aged 18 to 26 are automatically enlisted with the U.S. military draft. Now, young Americans might have no choice but to serve the most prestigious military in the world that demands you respect whether you agree with someone's pronouns or not. Which, I mean, that could be another cultural phenomenon where many people they start to adapt different pronouns. I'll be interested to see how the military, how do they quote unquote respect them? If every military age male just has now female pronouns and they say they're not men, how would the draft possibly work? Now, again, the draft, I mean, everyone has to do it. It's just automatic. Like I remember when I was younger, back in the day, when N64 was still the top G. Well, okay, I didn't sign up for the draft at that point, but again, you sign up, but it's not automatic. So I think that's one of the things where I think in this case, as an individual, you would have to sign the piece of paperwork, perhaps. Now, granted, this person, see what they have to say really quick here. Again, we do have a reader's added context, so we'll also read that in a New York Minute here. Let's see here. I was going to say, all men should suit up. I'm not sure what kind of tie that is. Some of my military buddies in the comments, I appreciate your insight, especially what type of, like a reverse tie. There's nothing in the middle, but there's like two stripes. I'm not sure if that's official. I'd be interested to learn about that.
All too often, I hear...
And I'm not sure, ironically, it's one of the few times where I'd actually, I mean, I'm not sure this versus pronouns, but it would help.
All too often, I hear leaders talk about providing everyone with dignity and respect like it's an aspirational goal. That's not good enough. Dignity and respect is the bare minimum. It's the floor of where we can be. We must set our sights higher and focus on...
A wise man once said, respect is earned, not given, but I digress.
On intentional inclusivity, because there are still far too many people out there, not just LGBTQ individuals, that feel marginalized, shut out, or discriminated against. So for all of you out there, I ask you to set out your symbols of pride, share your pronouns in your email, particularly if you're a person who doesn't think they need to.
Ah, so that's a military. Ah, that's great. That's someone in the U.S. military. And the readers add context says, quote, one is not automatically enlisted by being registered with the selective service system. Also, the selective service registration is already required by law. Here, one of the first comments comes from Daniel Chamberlain saying, this piece of crap in the uniform really pisses me off, getting 1.8 thousand likes. Drew Hicks says, just don't comply. It's that simple, getting 1.4 thousand likes. I'm a Draft says, I assure you they do have a choice because people are not just going to send their children off to a war like Vietnam, getting 1.8 thousand likes, which, again, with the U.S. involvement with the Ukrainian-Russia conflict war, whatever you call it, how many parents would want their child to go fight for the Ukrainian border? Protect that. An interesting question. It'd be fascinating to hear the statistical data if there's some type of poll on that. City Sue says, send the sons of those who voted for Biden first, getting 4.2 thousand likes. Becca says, they will never take my son under this regime, getting 2.9 thousand likes. Don Marie says, hell no, in this picture of U.S. military officials in, what is that, kink sex stuff? It's a famous man who transitioned and got a lot of accolades. Mark Levine, Rachel Levine. Then you have the U.S. Army and Navy with pride trans flags marching. Then you have, apologies, I don't know the specific military branches based on the dressed up uniforms, but you have two gentlemen in the U.S. military uniforms while wearing one of those leather dog mask things. That is, I guess, a thing in the, that is a popular thing in the LGBT, the pride bedroom community. And yeah, this post got 639 likes. Going down more and more. Let's see here. Grant Tilby Camp says, the time is coming that our love for our children will be put to the test. Globalists believe that our kids belong to them long term. To form the next compliant citizenry, we will either submit to that or begin to organize ourselves, because the crux is coming, getting 803 likes. Sober Sight says, I know of at least 11 million illegals that should certainly be registered to pay their dues, getting 227 likes. Let's see. Scrolling down more and more. 10 Toes says, what about the women? Whatever happened to equality? I don't know what that flag is. Getting 834 likes. The flag looks like it's white with two black stripes. Oh, equality. Oh, missed that one. been a couple years since I've done basic mathematics, apparently. Michael Breton says this can't be serious. Someone please tell me this isn't serious. Getting 295 likes. Darren says this person speaking is the reason why military can't make recruitment numbers, which getting 514 likes. Now, fact check on that, or I guess disclaimer. Yes, every U.S. military branch has failed to meet the recruitment, despite making it easier and lowering every standard they could possibly think of. However, with the exception of the United States Marines, they do consistently hit their recruitment numbers. I suspect partially because it's been less politicized, and also they have a long history and heritage. And I'd also argue they're much more effective at marketing than the other branches. And again, it's all about very similar to how other products and services that are limited are more desirable. Their whole mantra is, the few, the proud, the brave, the Marines, where, not to be pejorative, but I've heard jokes about the Army where it's a great place to lose weight. And there's much more supportive roles in terms of combat roles because it's an entire logistics. I mean, there are many more roles that people don't, I think, correlate. Roles that are not as physically demanding in the Army, which many people see the physical fit importance being one of the paramount things in the military. That's kind of my theory when it comes to this fascinating statistic on how every single branch, except the Marines, failed to hit the recruitment goals, which again, they lower the requirements every single year. Now you also have NJ Rich getting they get the award for a good book reference of the day, saying Never Ending War right out of 1984. It also rhymes. That's a double cool. I got 415 likes, and yet another daily reminder to read George Orwell's brilliant works of art known as 1984, great book, as well as Animal Farm. Animal Farm being much more short, less pages, more kid appropriate. Again, they're not happy books by any means. They're quite dark and depressing, quite concerning, especially when you consider how many areas of culture today and politics today mirror or are actually worse than parts in the book. Let's just say I wish there were a lot more libertarian-minded people in the government and people that love small government. I digress, though. Scrolling down more and more. Meme Coin says my son's identify as non-draftable body males, getting 790 likes. Let's see. Magnus Manus says it's hard to believe the most prestigious military in the world isn't anymore.
I'm going to focus a little bit more today on my story, and that
training a man into perfect physical
Times have
condition
changed.
is not the only concern of a good Army commander. An equally important consideration is the psychological preparation for a soldier about to go into battle.
And that of transgender service members, and how and why that.
The U.S. Department of Air Force, the first of the future, why inclusion matters. Colonel Bree Fram, United States Space Force.
Fits into the picture of why inclusion matters. Why does it matter to us?
Yeah, 302 likes. It's also quite sad when you see public schools. You see all the old videos and how, back in the day, the recess and gyms, they're almost like, compared now, it looks like they look like military experts back in the day. They were all great in shape, and they were climbing walls. I forget the specific exercise where you had the two wooden pegs and you climb up a wall. I mean, people used to be way back in shape, both mentally and physically in the United States. It is sad how far the ball has fallen. Or dropped, whatever metaphor you prefer. So not a lot of agreements. Let's see here. Not a lot of contrarian statements who are, a fan of the military doing this. And again, it's one of the things where you already have to do it. You're just signing it out. So perhaps just removing that from the equation. And it will be interesting to see. We've seen the pendulum swing back, back and forth culturally and politically in the United States. I mean, I would say past 50, 60, 70 years. In terms of public support for wars and interventionism, which I was going to say, if you could click that subscribe button, I'd greatly appreciate it. I know sometimes I can't pronounce things, and truth be told, I stutter and speak too fast. And believe it or not, when I first started the show, very few subscribers, and I spoke even faster, even had some monotone, and I also stumbled over my words even more. Now, granted, some might say it's just been a modicum of improvement. However, as I've gained more subscribers, I've become more articulate in my speech, and there's been some improvement. So if you could click that button, I'd really appreciate it. It might very well make the show even better. Time, of course, shall tell. It'll be interesting. Let me know, anecdotally speaking, are a lot of your friends concerned with the new update? Do you think they would be supportive of a draft if one to come up, especially if it were on foreign soil? Let me know in the comments, because as always, I would be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in. Again, try to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you could click that button, I would greatly appreciate it. Also, giving me a thumbs up, thumbs down, or comment is a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take the time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, Fight the good fight.